everything.
Hey guys, today we interviewed Trevor Frese, or Frese, sorry if I butchered your name, man. He's a full stack developer that works for Ernie, which is a web application, an Android and iOS application that saves you money on your purchases. At the end of the video, I show you, kind of walk you through the app, and we talk about it quite a bit during the interview. We talk about a lot of cool things. React versus Angular 2, they built their online platform in Angular 2. I asked his opinion about that, and we dive into all the good stuff. Very cool guy, very passionate about software. It's always a pleasure when you meet people who are passionate about the industry and about the kind of the just software in general, not just, hey, I do this for a job, it pays the bills. And I really like that about him. But I think you guys will enjoy this one. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Would you mind kind of introducing yourself and your experience to everybody?
Yeah, sure. Hey everyone, my name is Trevor Frese. I'm a software engineer at Ernie, which is a small startup in Santa Monica. My background in computer science and programming started when I was around 12. I played a lot of video games in middle school, and I was like, I want to make my own video games. So I made my video games for a while. Then I did robotics in high school. Went and I studied at UCSB. I did computer science there. And I did some research. I did some internships. And then I really fell in love with the startup world and wanted to get into building products that are very early stage. And at that point, I actually started my own startup with a friend of mine. And then it was like a social media fun app that we tried to get off the ground, but it was very difficult getting the traction and trying to find something that had the right product market fit. And then after that, I came to Ernie. And I've been working there for the last 4 months.
Now, what do you specifically do at Ernie? Are you doing full stack development or?
Yeah, I'm a full stack there.
Nice. And so for those of you who don't know what Ernie is, it's a I believe it's a web application and an Android and iOS app. Is that correct?
Exactly, yeah. So we have a web app, an iOS, and Android.
Nice. So I like the web app idea because I'm so sick of having to maintain apps on my phone all the time. Like, I'd rather just set it up once and be done with it.
Yeah.
So what Ernie does, guys, and correct me if I'm mistaken, because I've been waiting to actually set it up. I had it on my phone a while back because I liked the idea like 3 months ago when I got a Facebook ad. But Ernie, essentially, wherever you sign up your accounts on several sites where you buy stuff, Amazon or other retailers, if the price drops based off of what the store's price guarantee is within the 30 days, 15 days, Ernie actually automatically will capture that and get you a refund based on the amount of money. That's pretty accurate?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. So it's pretty simple. We actually had a commercial that went out recently, and one of the things about it was like the guy in the commercial goes, "People shop, prices drop." So basically, it's just we capture a post-purchase refund for you. So if you buy something from Amazon or Best Buy or any of your favorite retailers, either online or in store, if you get that receipt sent to your email address, all we do is we track that. We see if that purchase ever went down in price, and then we get you that refund for that difference in the price. So it's all automatic, and you don't ever have to do anything, and you just get free money. So it's
nice.
pretty nice for all the users.
I just did that in my personal life where I bought a brand new mattress and it was like $700.
Yeah.
And it dropped for Black Friday at Costco, and I got $140 back. So
wow.
Yeah.
Did you know when you actually went to Costco and you're like, hey, can I get?
I was shopping for like some toilet paper or something, and I was just like, motherfucker, this thing's $140 cheaper. And then I was like, yo, I wonder if they got a price protection thing, and they did. And so I just walked up to the returns counter, and they took care of it 10 minutes later.
That's awesome. Yeah. So we could have saved you that 10 minutes though too.
Yeah, there you go.
That money instantly. So yeah.
And it's nice that it's automated, right? So like, obviously you're not always going to be walking through the same store you always shop in, and you're not going to, after you buy something here or there, be like, yo man, let me check if it's within the 15 days, because they're all busy.
Exactly. And and it's also like these prices fluctuate so often, and these retailers, they set the prices all the time. They'll have it like you buy something for $50, then it'll go down to $30, then it'll jump up to 80. and there's huge price drops for Black Friday. Like Black Friday, like we saw all these prices start fluctuating. Like we had some really interesting data where we saw a bunch of purchases go down in price, then they go up in price, and it was very interesting. And like right now is the shopping season, so if you're buying stuff right now, you can also get refunds for anything you bought in the last 15 days, which everybody's buying stuff for Christmas and Hanukkah and everything. So yeah, it's definitely nice that it's automated too, because like people don't want to have to track all the things that they buy. And like, yeah, when you buy something, you're doing the price comparisons to make sure you're buying it for the best price. But usually people don't go back and look up something that they bought in the past and try and see if it like changed in price, because they're like, I've already bought it. Like, what's the point in that? So the fact that we do that all automatically definitely it's a benefit to the to all the consumers that use it.
Nice. Yeah. So I'm a big. Are you guys track analytics on all of this? I would imagine, like amount of money you saved and like for users, anything anywhere that's public data.
It's not public data. It's all private data. So yeah, most of those metrics they're very interesting trends that we figured out, but we can't release that.
I thought I would ask, because I was like, that's all the stuff people like. That stuff I find interesting. I don't know if everybody else does, but it's also very crucial to the business model. So I would be surprised if yeah, man, this is what we do, and this is it.
It's a list of like all of these private data. No, yeah. There's certain things that we can publish, and like we have it on the blog on Ernie's. Ernie actually has a blog, and there's like interesting things we figured out where like which companies drop prices on which days and things like that. So if you want to see some of the public communications that we've done, like we actually go into the data. We say like, okay, you should probably buy on this day or this day if you want to try and get a price drop. So.
Nice. Now, what is the so you worked on the web application portion? That's correct?
Yes.
All right. Can you go into what sort of stack you guys use to build that out with?
Mm-hmm. So that was an Angular 2 application in the front end, and it standard HTML and CSS, JavaScript, and we have a Node server in the back end.
Nice. Now, did you so Angular 2 for those guys who don't know, I believe officially got released out of beta in October or like late October. So yeah. So was there any persisting issues you guys came across where like, because that's one thing, it's like it's out of beta, but is it really, right? So was there any issues that came up along the way?
Yeah, there's plenty. Angular 2 is, I don't think that it's really out of beta yet. It's definitely got a lot of strange things that everything's different from Angular 1. If you're an Angular 1 developer and you liked Angular 1 and you really got used to that, it's completely different. It's like it's a whole new world there. The components that they introduced in Angular 1.5 were really like one of the big shifts that they had between Angular 1 and 2. But because the components were already back introduced in 1.5, I think one of the major benefits was the components. So if you're trying to migrate between them, you have to also balance out all the other things that it does now. So Angular 2, one of the big issues that we ran into is that like there's just not a lot of community support for it right now. Not a lot of people are developing in it. Not a lot of people have shifted over yet. So if you have some kind of issue with something, you're gonna have to go deep into the documentation, because there's not a lot of Stack Overflow articles. There's a lot of GitHub issues that haven't been answered yet. So yeah, if you're gonna make the migration, definitely try it out first and test it out. They also have, if you're going from Angular 1 to 2, which is, I know a lot of people are doing this, they actually have this Angular 1 upgrade module that lets you upgrade between 1 and 2. But even that has some bugs in it.
That shit sounds like that ain't gonna work at all. Like it just sounds like a bad idea.
Yeah, it's the way they designed it sounded really interesting, where you could run your Angular 1 app and Angular 2 app at the same time, and like basically you could slowly port over different modules of your code into Angular 2. But in practice, I think it's a lot harder than that.
Yeah, I mean, there's been things like that between languages even, and like it's just like this will kind of equate to this, and that shit has never ever worked properly 100% of the time.
Yeah, there's always like nuanced cases, and like those nuanced cases end up being like the big things that you need to do it. So
Nice. I'm glad to hear you elaborate on it because I get asked that question all the time. Like, should I learn Angular 1 or should I learn Angular 2? And my response has always been like, if the problem with learning Angular 2 right now, especially a lot of people are junior devs or trying to be, is like you're diving into a world in which there's problems as in every language, but the solutions aren't necessarily readily available.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
if you really want to learn something, and there's plenty of companies using Angular 1 now, like in my work, we develop an Angular 1. And so you might as well learn something that there's kind of holds your hand a little bit more than diving deep into deep water like that.
Exactly. And I mean, if there isn't the community support, it just has to be really well documented. Like, that's the other side of it. Like, you don't need community support if the documentation is amazing. And like, if you have a question, you can instantly just like look it up in the docs and find out. But the Angular 2 documentation, I don't think is very good right now. If you go to their website and like just kind of look through their tutorials, like, or if you just look at Angular 2 router, that's like a great example. Just the router itself, the page that they have like for the documentation for it, it's like a mile long, and you have to like really read through all of it to actually understand what's going on with and like a router is something super simple, you know, like in Angular 1 you use UI router. UI router has good documentation. It's very simple to use, or whichever router you want to use. But if you're using it, you can instantly find an answer to something where you're like, oh, I want to do like optional parameters for this URL or something. But in Angular 2's, it's not so simple. You gotta like really go digging deep. So yeah.
It's an interesting choice to make. I have a feeling I'll be learning Angular 2 about a year from now. So I'm waiting for everyone else to start pulling their hair out first. It's the game plan. I see on here that you are a mentor at HackerFund. Will you kind of explain what that is? I'd love to dive into that a bit.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So a friend of mine, Justin Brezhnev, he started this company called HackerFund, and it's a charity that does mentorship for high school students and people that are underprivileged and minorities, people that aren't usually in software engineering. And basically it's mentorship, and we do like events that help out and like workshops to help people learn how to code and get into coding.
Nice. Is this a like a local thing, or like is there an area where this actually takes place, or is it online? How does it work?
It's all over. It's based in cities, and it's usually through hackathons or workshops that we throw in different cities. But I think it's in like a lot of different cities right now. I know in Los Angeles they have a big community for hackathon, but there's like local chapters all over.
Nice. I'd love to reach out to him sometime, maybe talk to him about. I'm a big advocate for hackathons. I think they're great, especially for people trying to get into a junior level role and learn what sort of things and have portfolio items. And so like anything to reach out and like contribute, I love all that sort of stuff.
That's awesome. That's good to hear, man. Yeah, I can definitely put you in touch with them too. I was one of the founders of SB Hacks at UCSB. So I love hackathons too. I love it. And just such fun.
I've never won one. But one day I will win one, and then I'll stop. I'll be like, "Yo, man, I got my W. I'm out of here, guys." Like,
going is winning, though, right? Just doing is like that's a win. You get to build something. That's always fun.
Yeah, and it really teaches you a lot about how to work on a team. What forces you to see like what can I actually do in 36 hours if I with enough Red Bull.
Right? Enough coffee and Red Bull, it just translates to code.
Yeah, and then you get to meet people, you get to network, you get to, there's so much going on. Every hackathon I've ever gone to, there's been 2 or 3 companies that show up before everyone and says, look, we're looking to hire people. If you have a job, come talk to us. These are the stacks we're working with. And people think that's like not a real thing. No, people come to hire at hackathons.
Definitely.
It's about hiring an individual that's interested in learning. If you have somewhat of the skill, you can probably pick up an easy job or internship at the very least.
Definitely. I know a lot of friends have actually gotten jobs and interviews from these hackathons because the companies too, at the start of the hackathon, they can say like, okay, we're opening up our API. We have this challenge that we're working with, and this is our stack. Feel free to use it. And then at the 36 hours that go on, the teams come up to them, they ask for help, and like it basically feels like they're on the job there. So it's a good way for the company to do interviewing and recruiting.
Nice. How many developers does Ernie have now?
Developers, we have the CTO, Ilan, and then there's me, Juan, and Chandana. So there's about 4 of us right now. And then we have contractors on the side.
Nice. And any designers on stuff? I interviewed a designer yesterday, and so I'm just curious if you have any designers that are full time.
Not full time, but I think we're looking for one full time. We have someone part time right now though.
Okay, you guys heard it here, man. Start applying. No.
Yeah, if you want, yeah, go ahead and apply. Who are you? Were you interviewing a designer yesterday?
I'm sorry. Yeah. We were interviewing. So I'm trying to do interviews with like software professionals and tech professionals quite often, and so I do these interviews ahead of time. And we interviewed with a freelance designer who worked on a course designed all about getting a job in the market, in the tech marketplace is really what it is, which was an interesting take because it's like there's so many things about what you need to learn and none about how to actually present yourself as a functioning person to an employer, right? But that was a great experience because I'm one of those developers that has always been like, yo, man, just give a web designer that shit. Like, I'm not a designer by trade. I need to improve upon that in my skill set.
Good design and good UX. That's very difficult, actually.
Yeah, and I at the same time of having disrespect for it, I respect it entirely because I know I'm bad at it and I've tried to get good, and it's like I really am like, no, man, I'm gonna focus more on the logical aspect and let these guys who have that part of their brain function properly. So you got to respect it, right? It goes hand in hand, and being a good designer and a good developer really makes you a very attractive candidate for employers.
Yeah, you can do anything with that. That's like what a lot of freelance designers and web developers, if they can do good design on the side, that's definitely a plus.
Yeah. Let's see. So I see that you a research intern. What does a research? You have two things here in the past, going back to 2014 and 2012. What does a research intern actually do?
So they help out with research in research labs. So I did research at a few labs at UCSB. One of them was the security lab, so I did some computer security projects there. That was really fun. And then I also interned in the computer architecture lab, so that was more low level, kind of between the very low logic level and also a higher level in terms of programming.
Nice. So I see here in your LinkedIn that you say you prefer working 12 to 16 hours a day. Now, is that something that's actually true, or is that just like so the recruiters reach out to you?
No, that's how I am, man. Like, I get obsessed with projects. Like, when I was starting my own company, like, I was just like literally wake up, start coding, and just like start doing bugs and feature requests, and just like go the entire day on it. Like it comes from like the hackathon background too, where like when you're in a hackathon, you're like immersed in it and you're just like kind of doing it for a long time. And I really got like addicted to that. And like, I'm still like 100% all like, if I'm on a project, I'm like 100% on it. So with Ernie, like, I'm definitely like, I don't just like come home and I'm like, all right, I'm done for the day. Like, it's over. Like, I'm still thinking about all the projects we're doing. I'm still like, I'll come back and I'll start coding on something that I was like, oh, I'm almost done with it. Like, so yeah.
I can appreciate that, man, because it's like that's the mentality you have to have when you're in software, because things are always changing, new libraries always coming out, and I like that. Like, I always tell people, work more than your coworkers in your off hours. Like, you need to be pushing yourself, and I always like that when I see someone. But I like that you put it in your LinkedIn specifically, because it is a very attractive thing to put in there. Hey, man, this guy a workaholic. We got to get this guy.
Most employers, I think, would want that. They definitely want someone who's like invested in it all the time. Yeah. You got some clouds going in there. What's going on?
So this is I get a question about this all the time, right? So this is my essential oils, right? So I have some oils that I put into this diffuser, and like, it's just like a soothing thing, or like depending on what oil you put in it, you can put spearmint, and it's supposed to like wake you up. To me, it's just like makes
it right.
Yeah, it's good for the allergies. It's good for the zen, man. You gotta.
My roommate had that in college. They were really nice to have. Like, we just have that on, and like it makes everything smell really nice. It's very calming.
Yeah, I mean, I personally am like pro anything that gets me to code longer. So like, the longer I work, like anything to make you code longer. My girlfriend got me started on it, and like I just remember talking all this mad shit. And like, man, I ain't about this hippie lifestyle. Get that dirty hippiness out of here. And then before I know it, I'm like buying essential oils, but in packs of 3s and shit.
Right? Yeah, no, they're really nice. I wanted the Mister that like. Do you have like the Mister one that like it floats out of that?
Oh yeah. So we'll give everyone the full treatment here real quick. Yes. You can see I got the Mac Daddy over here, and if I want, oh yeah, you got to go big, and then you got the different lights coming on and whatnot. Gotta have fun with it, right?
Nice.
All right, so let's dive in a little bit to the app portion of it. Now, someone asked me this, and I don't know the answer if this is true or not. Traditionally, when getting apps built, whether it be an Ernie case or your personal experience, someone told me typically those are just hired out a lot of times and then forgotten about, like the developers. Is that a pretty standard thing?
It is becoming more common in a lot of companies because of the nature of iOS and Android development. Those skill sets, they're very useful for building the apps, and a lot of the time, like after the app's built, like they'll kind of just be like, okay, now it's out there, like we'll only need it for maintenance. So I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen a lot of companies just kind of hiring out for that.
Now, do you think that in terms of people who are looking to go down paths of software, that kind of makes it a more at-risk employment because it's more of a one-time hire instead of like an employment? Like for instance, you're hired as a full-time employee doing the web application portion. Do you think that it's a better choice going in the web development or a better choice going in the app development because of that?
It's a good question. I think that those skill sets, it really depends on the company, because if the company is doing an app as their their bread and butter, then like you're gonna be safe there. As an iOS or Android developer, if like you're making an app, yes, you will always be necessary to build out new features. So you're a lot safer there. If you're at a company where the app is kind of an ancillary function to the product, then yeah, I mean, it would be a lot more flexible and you might be let go or something. But I think the majority of the time, if you have those skill sets, it's not gonna be hard to get a job. Like there are hundreds and hundreds of companies that need iOS, Android, and web developers. So if you're in web development, I think you have a little bit more flexibility, since web dev is, like every company needs a website. Every company, literally every company needs a website. So you'll be solid with just that. I think honestly, it depends on the company again. Like there's some where the app is just the entire focus of it, and the website is just more of a landing page to get people to download the app. So it really depends on the company there.
Nice. So I had a question about your startup that you and your buddy tried to start. Was it Echo? Is that the name of it? All right. Yeah. So someone asked me this, and I've never started a startup or even like a real side project, other than if you want to count my YouTube channel. When does a side project become a startup? When, like, is there a point in time where you're like, look, man, we're taking this shit seriously now? Like, is there a moment that like kind of transitions that from one to the other?
Definitely, yeah. There's a moment where it was like we were getting it out there and we were publishing it, and we were like, okay, actually, this is something I should be doing full time. Like, there's a big need in this market. So, yeah, it's definitely a good feeling too to like kind of be like, oh wow, like this is something big, and yeah, it's exciting.
Nice. All right, guys. So we're gonna take about questions for about 5 minutes. I'm gonna type in chat real quick. Cool. Time, guys. Is there any thing that you wanted us to cover? Anything that you thought was important? Yeah. Or
let me think for a second. Kind of went over a lot of the interesting side of it. One thing that I don't think we mentioned yet about Ernie though, Ernie, like, although it is an app and it's an iOS app, it's an Android app and a web app, it's pretty different because it's a set it and forget it kind of app where like once you sign up and you give us the email account, the Amazon, and then the credit card information, like it's just that 3-step process, you're gone. You're completely done. That's one of the beautiful things about this app where like once you're in, like you just get money and you get refunds every now and then. You're like, oh wow, I'm getting money right now. Like you don't have to like constantly like go on it. So it's not designing an app where a lot of the other apps, they're trying to get like daily active users or daily monthly users and stuff. And like that's not as representative as what we're doing, because we're more of an app that like you can just turn it on and you just make cash from it. Like you don't have to like, you can even delete it after that. Like you're still in the system. So
Nice. Does the refunds essentially, does that go directly into a bank account, or does it go into like your Ernie account, at which point you cash out?
it's like immediately you just get the cash back.
Back into the bank account.
Yeah, back in the bank account.
You know, everyone get on this right now, man, because we're all blowing money out for no reason at all.
Gosh, like people, like it was insane for Black Friday. Like, oh my God, like there was a person that bought a TV, and it was right before Black Friday, and this person just installed the app, and the price dropped for that TV $500, and then we got them a $500 refund from Best Buy, and we were all just sitting around, we're like, holy shit, imagine like as a person, like you're like, huh, maybe I'll download Ernie, like put in my information, and then like 2 minutes later you get $500. Like we were like, wow, this just got really real. Like it was a really good feeling. Like, yeah.
Nice. All right, so let's unless there's anything else that you wanted us to cover, I'm gonna start doing the questions.
No, yeah, I think we're good for questions.
All right, cool. All right, what steps when you were looking for an internship did you take, and what tips would you give students or other young individuals looking for internships?
It's a good question. I definitely reached out to my friends first and asked around for which companies are kind of good places to work at. All my software engineering friends, people that were older that had gone into industry. And I also went to a lot of the career fairs. At UCSB, they had career fairs like every single quarter. So I kind of just got like a feel for what the space was like at that. And yeah, I think that's like my two big ways to do it.
Nice. What is the interview process like for a startup in your experience, at least?
For startups, and they've actually been the same for both startups and for large companies, where kind of like a standard flow of first it's a phone call just to kind of screen the person, then the technical screen, the phone call, then you have the on-site interview that goes over just like an introduction between the person and the company, and then there's like the long technical interview that could be like 3 hours where it's like do this whiteboard problem. So yeah, I think that's been like the standard flow so far.
Yeah, so the whiteboard is always something I see on my Facebook feed about how it's broken and an awful idea.
Yeah.
Is that like I tend to agree, because I've done so many algorithms. I don't know that I could do them on a whiteboard.
Right? And also, like, how often are you using like bubble sort or heap sort during your daily coding? Like, never. That's not what coding is at companies. That's like software engineering isn't like trying to solve some weird algorithmic problem in n time. Like, that's not like what it is. I think more representative are interviews where like you just like kind of give a person a project or an assignment, and like you can let them use the entire internet at their disposal. Like you see how they go through the coding process. You work with them. Like I think that's a good way to do it. Like if you're sitting down next to the person and like coding out with them. So I think those interviews definitely like correlate higher with like what a person's skill set is.
Yeah, I saw a great article the other day about like one of the high ups at Google left the company, and then someone interviewed him and gave them the interview question that is done in the Google interview, and he couldn't answer it. I thought that was pretty awesome. Right?
Yeah. See, it's like it doesn't really correlate. Not really what they're doing.
All right, let's see. The last question is a common question, but everyone has a different response for it. How does one improve their web dev skills online through free resources or low-cost resources?
Great question. Stack Overflow. That's the first one. Just like Stack Overflowing questions that you have all the time. That's like the standard primary resource for gaining information. In terms of like schools and like code courses and everything, I've used a few of them. Whenever I'm learning a new one, I kind of go like, okay, learn Angular 2 tutorials or learn React tutorials. There's plenty out there. Most of them are free too. I don't know like one specific website that I go to for this though. I used what's the name of that one that forgetting the name right now. It's the like Coding Academy or something. I used Coding Academy a long time ago. That one's pretty good if you're a beginner and if you're trying to get into junior development. That one's very good. It has nice step-by-step courses. But yeah, other than that, I mostly just Google whatever I'm trying to learn, like learn Angular tutorial. Yeah.
Nice. Let's see. Trying to think of I think thoughts on React versus Angular 2, because I get this also all the time, and unfortunately I have no experience with both really.
That is like a huge hot debate too. React versus Angular 2, like I am kind of leaning towards React right now, just in terms of how clean and easy, and it's very simple and straightforward to get into it. Angular 2, the learning curve is like very large. Like it's very, very esoteric, specific knowledge that is just applicable to Angular 2. Whereas React is JavaScript, and I mean, like React also gives you compile time checks, and it has good linting tools, and you know, it's definitely, I think, got a bigger community right now. So yeah, I lean a little bit more to React, but you know, Angular 2 is getting better. Every month they introduce new features for it, and like some of the features that they introduce are crazy cool, and they're things that React just can't do. One example of that is Angular Universal. So with Angular 2 Universal, like you can basically you can have the web app load. And you know, the entire downside, one of the big downsides with Angular 2 is that it loads the entire web app, which could be, you know, a pretty large file, and it takes some time to load. But what they've introduced is something where you can have your home page or your landing page that people would come to first. You can have that one load statically, basically. So it'll load really, really quickly. And then while that page is loading, it loads all the other files for the web app. So that by itself honestly gets a huge leg up to things like React, where like you can have the entire web app load and like it's lightning fast to go between pages. So yeah, it's always a trade-off between the two. And like, I think it really depends on the project you're going with too. So
which is something that I was literally last week struggling with, trying to do basically lazy loading in Angular 1.5 or whatever the last version is. So it's like, so people who maybe aren't Angular developers or just getting started, it is a pain in the ass. So that's a pretty big deal.
That one is a big deal, yeah.
Well, thank you for taking the time. Do you have any social media or anything like that you would like to, for people who might be interested in following you?
Sure. I'm on Facebook. Hit me up on Facebook, Trevor Frese, Frese. You can email me, trevorf@ernie.co. Yeah, I mean, just hit me up also on LinkedIn. Like, I'm on there.
Hey guys, I just want to show you how quick and easy it is to sign in to Ernie. You can go ahead and use my link in the description down below. All you have to do is verify with the email account that you get your receipt sent to. We're going to do it right now with my Gmail account. You'll set up your password, your Amazon password in this case, so you can link your Amazon account. I already actually did this, so we're going to skip this. You're also going to go ahead and put your card number in here so that they can send you a basically your refund, and then that's it. It's that simple. And then you get referrals, right? You'll see right here on my page I have Engineer Truth, so I can invite him directly, but also you're able to send your referral link, which I just exited out of. Whoops. Done. And you'll see how much you can earn from friends. And it's as simple as clicking the dashboard, and then your personal link right here, this ernieapp.link, and then your code. Like I have mine in my description. You can then send it out to your friends and stuff like that, and you'll earn 5% of your friend's refund. So if your friends earn $100 back, you'll have earned $5 in the process, which is kind of cool. Especially, you know, it's residual. It's always out there. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and go over and check out Ernie, which is a great app. Again, it costs you nothing, and it's just free money that otherwise you wouldn't have. So I hope you guys enjoyed this interview. I know I had a lot of fun, and thanks for watching. Special thanks to our sponsor, Ernie. If you're interested in checking out their web app or Android or iOS app, go ahead and click the annotation, the card, or the link in the description below. Thanks for watching.